All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And you guys see what we're getting to today, guys. We're going to be talking about a green control deck, a absolute lockdown type style deck, whatever you want to call it, running with the new OP-07 leader, Jewelry Bonney, and running a Supernova and Don Quixote Pirates package. It looks very strong, guys. So real quick, just give you a heads up, spoiler warnings, we're going to be in OP-07 in this video, and we're also going to be looking at this card on the screen here. His name's Pedro. This is from OP-08. That got spoiled last night at the time we were recording this video, and I think it could have a place in a deck like this, but we'll talk about that as we get to it later. So just to give you guys a rundown of how this video is going to go, and I'll have it all time-stamped down in the comment section below. First, we're going to be going over Pedro, this new card that was just spoiled. Then we're going to be looking at some Jewelry Bonney decks that are already winning in the East that look very, very solid. They look very strong. And then we're going to look at some games on the sim. All right, so you guys know what you're getting into. Let's just go ahead and dive straight into this. I can't wait to get into this because I do like control decks. That is something that I usually, that's usually what I gravitate towards when it comes to TCGs, is control decks. I'm not, I'll play mid-range and aggro decks, but control is probably my main style. Okay, so first up we got Pedro here. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter blocker. Already those are good stats, right? That's our Borsalino stat line. That's our, Purple Trafalgar Law stat line. That is a good one. But listen to this on KO. Okay, when KO'd, choose one. Rest up to one of your opponent's Dawn. Understand what that means before I even go further. You're on defense, so it's your opponent's turn. So if they untap with 10 Dawn on the board and they attack first, which is what most people do, right? They want to try to get a response out of you. Well, think about this. In a deck with Jewelry Bonney, if they attack into you first of all, when your opponent attacks, you can pay one and rest one of their characters or leaders. Very, very powerful effect on the leader, right? Then, if you choose to block with this guy, it stops whatever the attack was, and you can have, let this guy get KO'd, and then you can rest one of their Dawn and stop them from playing their 10 Dawn character for the turn. You see what I'm saying? Like, the amount of manipulation that has to it, that the amount of... This is going to allow for really big outplays on your part as a player. So I love seeing cards like this with effects that have multiple abilities. Or here's the other effect: KO up to one of your opponent's rested cost 6 or lower characters. Sorry guys, that's worded really strangely, but y'all get the point. KO up to one of your opponent's rested cost 6 or lower characters. So if you want to, you can literally have this guy just KO the person that attacked him, pretty much, if it costs 6 or less. So really, really powerful character. Okay, so now getting into the actual decks themselves, let's go ahead and hop into them here. This is the list we're going to be looking at today that I'm running. I literally just copied it right off of this first place list here. It won a flagship 64 player. We'll look at that one in a minute. Let me bring up just the, where is Bonney? There we go. So this is the one we're going to look at the end. This is the one that I'm running for the video. So next up is, so let's go over this next one here. Actually, I don't know. It makes sense. We'll go over it now. So I'll run through the list real quick, guys, and then we'll talk about and explain how things work. So 4 Eustace Kids, 4 Jewelry Bonney, 2 Viola, 3 Doflamingo, 4 Baby 5, 4 Rosinante, 4 Baby 5, the 2K counter. Well, excuse me. They have 4 of the 2K counter and 4 of the Searcher. Sorry, guys. I had that backwards. 3 Zorro, 4 Hody Jones, 4 Cavendish, 2 Scratchman Apu, 4 Urog, or Uroge, however you say that, 4 Basil Hawkins, and 4 whoever wins this war becomes Justice. So this is a straight-up Supernova plus Don Quixote Pirates package. Pretty much right down the middle, right? This is a pretty solid package here. You're running... Look at all the blockers real quick, guys. I mean, I know Eustace Kid's not a blocker, but we're going to call him a blocker, okay? You're running Eustace Kid. You're running Rosinante. You're running, where is he? Uroge, or Uroge, and Basil Hawkins. This is a new card coming out in OP-07. Pause this. Make sure you know what this does. In Supernova decks, he's a blocker, and he has the ability to cheat death one time with his effect. Just really, really powerful. But one thing you do have to look out for his effect, I will say, is listen to this once per turn. If this character were to be removed from play by one of your opponent's effects, you may rest up to one of your opponent's characters instead. So if you can't rest a character, I don't think it works. And I think we might see that in one of the games today, but I did experience down the sim where it's like if they don't have a character to rest, this guy can get taken out. So good to know. Good to know stuff like that. Okay, and someone correct me in the comment section down below if I'm wrong on that. That's just how it's implemented on the sim currently. But very good stuff here. This deck is super, super tall. Like, look at this. It's running 4-8 cost, 3-10 cost, 3-9 cost, 4-7 cost, and then the 4-6 cost here. That is, how many did we just go? 4-8, 12, 14, 18. That's 18 cards with no counters on them, like bricks in hand. And he's only running 4-8 2K counters with 4 of the whoever wins this war becomes justice. And guys, this deck, the reason it's even possible to run this deck the way it's running is because of this leader. She is a 5,000 power, 5 life monocolored leader. That's all standard. On your opponent's turn, once per turn, you're going to pay 1 and rest up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters. No cost restriction. Like, there is no cost restriction on this. You can rest their leader or any character they have. Absolutely insanely controlling, you know, the way that this works. Extremely, extremely oppressive leader effect. And 2 other cards I want to look at real quick that y'all maybe, I don't know if y'all have looked into or not. Number 1 is Cavendish. If you can get this guy down on curve, you are going to start having, like, just massive amounts of Dawn in each turn. Because he allows you to unrest or make active 2 Dawn whenever you play him or whenever you attack with him. So they have to get this character off the board immediately. There's pretty much no other choice. They have to get him off the board. Very, very powerful character. He activates 2 Dawn when you play him or when you attack. And lastly is Uroge, however you say it. 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter blocker, just like the Minx Cat guy we were just looking at. But this guy is a Supernova character, so he is searchable by your Bonney. And at the end of your turn, you can set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. Well, that's perfect. That fits perfectly with our leader, right? Just absolutely incredible. Okay, so that's that one. That's the deck we're going to be looking at today. Let's go ahead and look at a few others. Let it come up. There we go. So this list, and you'll see, like, I think the core of it is all very much set, where it's like 4 Basil Hawkins, 4 Cavendish, 4 Hody Jones, you know, 3 to 4 Zoros, 3 or 4 Eustace Kids, and then you get to choose from there. Like, the Supernova package is set in stone because of the way that the leader, you know, the leader is a Supernova, and that goes with this extremely powerful new card named Basil Hawkins that requires a Supernova leader to gain blocker. Where it is just absolutely incredible, guys. Like that part's probably set in stone, and then you're going to get to choose. Do you want to go Fishman Pirates as your subtype, or do you want to go with something like what the other deck was running, Don Quixote Pirates? It will have that option there. I personally think the Don Quixote Pirates one is a little bit better. And let me look for tournaments with like bigger turnouts. So this was a top 4 flagship Bonney at a 300 player tournament. Okay, and in this list, this one's much more like what we were looking at before. Actually, it's still pretty different because, remember, guys, they're still trying to figure out over in the East which deck is even the best. They haven't had any major tournaments yet. They have no idea which deck is the most consistent out of all of them. But if I had to guess, it would be a version like this with the Supernova and Don Quixote Pirates package. Because this deck is running something we didn't see in the last one with, if this character, with Don Quixote Rosinante, the 8 cost. Because listen to what he does. Okay, on play, you may rest this character and then play up to one green character card with a cost of 5 from your hand. Not 5 or less, 5. So that's going to allow you to play out a card like Cavendish, which on play will give you 2 active Dawn. Or a card, you know, like, where is it? Here, this one, Jewelry Bonney, which is a 5 cost 6K that has on play up to one of your opponent's rested characters or Dawn do not become active during their next refresh phase. So again, and by the way, one more thing I should mention is this guy then protects them if they're active. Opponent's turn, if this character is rested, your active characters with a base cost of 5 cannot be KO'd by effects. So just absolutely incredible. And by the way, this is a Supernova. It's not a Don Quixote Pirates, but X-Drake is a Supernova. And if you keep characters rested, you're going to be able to KO them whenever you want to with a character like this and establish some tempo and all that good stuff. The deck just seems so controlling, so oppressive. And look, they're even running Sugar. I don't think this is as great, but I guess it's fine as like this deck's only running 2 of them as a utility card to rest characters down, because then you can play out something like a Jewelry Bonney and keep it rested until you're ready to deal with it. So really good stuff there. But it looks like the core of the deck is pretty much the Supernova package, and then however you want to build it from there, whether it be, I don't know, maybe Film, Don Quixote Pirates, or even what we saw in the other deck, like a Fishman Pirates type of theme. Here's a first place at a 110 player tournament, and this is probably the last one we look at before we dive into the games. This one, yeah, I was going to say, this is actually a great idea. Set one of your rested characters with it says super rookies on this site. Your supernovas or heart pirates with a cost of 5 or less is active. This is the restand law that we used to see a lot in red-green law way back, way back in the day now. And this is running a supernova package, so why not, right? It makes sense. Especially if you build a 5-cost theme around the deck, like with your Jewelry Bonnies, with your Cavendish, and you have your, this guy's Don 50 Pirates searchable, excuse me, by your baby 5s. So you're going to be able to get, play this down on turn 4, if you're on an even curve. And then this can cheat out something like where's that, Cavendish. It can cheat out the Cavendish, which it'll set 2 Dawn as active. And now you have 2 more Dawn to play for the turn, where you can do something with your leader or swing 6 or whatever you choose to do. Just a really, really powerful, oppressive style deck with lots of resting and lots of control. Okay, so that's enough talking about it. Let's go ahead and dive into some games now. This is on the sim, OP-07 on the East server of the sim. Let me make sure the volume's off. Let me hit play. And let me put it on 2x speed, and we'll be off to the races here. Let me go ahead and move my face this time. Look at that, I'm getting better at remembering. There we go. Good enough, right? Okay. So, back to the game here. This is a game versus Boa Hancock. This is a new OP-07 leader as well. I'll probably be doing a video on this soon as well. This leader looks like a lot of fun. We'll have to see, though. I don't know if it's going to be as good as Rob Lucci from OP-07 and Jewelry Bonney. I think this will probably be an A-tier leader, not quite S-tier, but we'll have to see. Maybe people have not figured out what is the best deck to run with it yet. Okay, so I have Baby 5 on the board. I'm just going to do a top 5 search, grab 10 cost Doflamingo, swing for 5, and here comes that Eroge card. Look at this. Play this out. I've got a blocker to protect my card. I get a Dawn active now. Even though they have 2 characters on the board, they only get to attack with 1, and the other will get rested no matter what. I'm going to force it to be rested with my leader's effects, just like that. So, okay, I'm going to let you have that, by the way, because I'd rather have this blocker. This blocker makes the deck just stronger. I don't know how else to say it, because it's turning on your leader's effect for free every single turn, where you can fully spend all your Dawn, and then you get 1 more extra Dawn to work with because of their effect. The card is actually so good. And it's a 4-cost 5k. Like, it can attack later in the game. So I'm going to swing 6 into the Gecko Mori that's tapped, and I'm going to swing 5 more into it, I believe, as well, because I'm going to play out. Okay, swing 5 into it. Let's see if they want to give me another card. They let it go. And I play out Basil Hawkins, and then at the end of my turn, I set a Dawn active with that 4-cost blocker. My board's getting stronger. Their board is going away. I just want to get to the late game. I'm not trying to attack their face here. I'm not trying to go aggressive and attack their life. I'd rather just keep tapping down their characters. So here we go. I'm going to tap down their leader. Block with this guy and go 2k counter. I could have just done a 1k counter, to be honest. I don't know why I did a 2k counter. The Rosinantes are very good. Notice that. So he red rocked my Basil Hawkins, and I could not save it from its effect because I had no character to rest. It is what it is. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes, right? So I swing 5 into this Crocodile, and I don't know if this guy hasn't realized it not yet, but I'm swinging sideways with this blocker every time. So got a card out of hand. I play out Zorro. Dawn gets unrested at the end of my turn, and now he has to deal with this card, right? Like this card, I'm not saying he can't. Blue has ways to deal with this with like red rocks, but that is a card you have to deal with. Swing 8 into him. It is what it is. I'm not gonna block out of that. And then he plays out a Boa Hancock. This is another new card from OP-07. Very powerful. It's a 6-cost 8k that says on play, one of your opponent's characters cannot attack this turn. Very, very strong effect. It can also bottom deck a 1-cost character, I believe, as an additional effect, which goes with the leader, which is really nice. Okay, so swing 5 at leader. They take it. I can't swing my Zorro this turn because of the Boa Hancock. So I go, okay, I'm going to play out 9 Dawns worth of characters, the Basil Hawkins, the Rosinante, and the Jewelry Bonney. Keep 1 Dawn active, so when he attacks, I rest his leader, and I take that hit. I'm down. I'm still at 4 life, guys. Like, I was at 5 life. And so I go to 4. He bottom decks my Rosinante to, that way he could protect, or that way I can't protect my other cards as easily. Okay, so swing 5 at leader. I'm just trying to get cards out of hand. Looking back, I think I should have attached 1 Dawn to this guy and attacked Boa Hancock. Okay, so right here I'm trying to get some counters out of his hand. I'm really just controlling the board. I don't mind him, you know, countering out of these attacks. I'd rather just keep developing my board and taking all the cards from his hand and all the cards off of his board, just like that. So right here, I'll play out Jewelry Bonney. Top 5 search, we'll grab a Cavendish. We'll do another Jewelry Bonney. We'll grab a Eustace Kid. And then we'll drop down a Rosinante. I have 2 blockers now. I think I'm going to swing with it. No, I don't swing. And I can use my Leader's Effect. So he only gets 1 attack this turn. Again, what's he going to do? He has to get this, this Zoro off the board. He swings 9. Sure, I'll just block out Rosinante because I need to clear up room for next turn anyway to play new characters. Okay. So I think I should have swung with Basil Hawkins that turn, just to give a heads up. I do think that was somewhat of a play mistake. There was no reason not to swing with Basil Hawkins because of the fact I have Rosinante. All right. So see what he does here. Plays out another Boa to stop my my Zoro. That's very frustrating, very annoying, but a very good play. Okay, so now I think it's time to drop Cavendish so that I can start getting like 12 and 12 Dawn turns. But oh, is this when I think I might drop the the Doflamingo here. I'll lock down your 2 guys. I don't have 1 extra Dawn to make it where their character gets rested from attacking, but I have a blocker. I have 4 life. 2 of their guys will not become active this turn. So swing 9 at me. Absolutely, I'll take it. And let's see what they do with this 10 Dawn. Mihawk, that's really nice, but they had a card left over for me to tap to save him this time. So here we go. Right here, to be honest, I'm just having fun completely dominating my opponent's board at this point. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to eat up your entire board. And they tap out. And they saw that, right? Because nothing on their side is going to survive. And it's going to be another turn next turn where they just don't get to attack. They get to attack 1 time. I could block out of it with a 7K blocker and Basil Hawkins, or let it go through so I can draw another card for my life. Guys, this deck is absolute lockdown. And I get it. People are still learning. People are still learning the new decks and whatnot. I'm not judging the players or anything. And I'm not saying the deck's broken. But, I'm just saying the deck is very, very solid. Okay, now we got a game versus Katakuri. This was a good game. This was a very close game. But you're going to get to see again here where this deck, it is just very, very controlling. I don't know how else to say it. And I'm sorry I sound redundant. I sound like a broken record. But honestly, that's what it is. So they played out Viola on turn 1. That was awesome for they just completely set all of my triggers, right? They said, okay, I know every card in your hand now, or excuse me, in your life, in my life, and I'm going to make it where you don't get any good triggers. So he swung for 5. I take it. I swing for 7 here. I'm going to play out a Rosinante. Yep. And then I keep 1 Dawn open for my Leader's Effect. And look at the start he has, guys. This was you could not ask for a much better start as a Katakuri player. Getting a trigger on turn 1, getting out these cards in the order he did. And yeah, he's in very good shape. But I need to actually take a little bit of life. I don't want to play into his Big Mom and his 7-lin and his 10-lin. I don't want to have much life left for that. And same idea with his Yamato. I'd rather take all my life down pretty aggressively this game, so that way he can't do anything he wants to me, with the 7-lin and the 10-lin. And Yamato, for that matter. Okay, so I have to counter out of some of these, though. I don't want to just lose the game. The Leader Effect is keeping me in the game. It's shutting down 1 attack every single turn. And, okay, so here we go, guys. I have a 9 Dawn turn, but I really have an 11 Dawn turn because of Cavendish. So I'm going to swing 6 into Gidatsu. I'm going to play out this guy, the Eustace Kid, swing 6 more into Gidatsu. He has to block it. I'll put 1 of those Dawn attached to Eustace Kid, and I have 1 Dawn left for my character. That Cavendish Supernova package is... it's incredible. And again, I'm not saying it's broken. It just has such a good synergy to it. Okay, so I've got a decent blocker here. He took a turn to establish the Yamato. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to swing 8 here. I should have swung 9. There's no reason not to swing 9. But he was going to take it. This guy's in, run you over, aggro mode. Swing 6 with my leader. And I should have swung with that first, technically. I don't know, unless I'm trying to play around a beige or something. Then play out these two blockers. And now I have 2 Dawn active, 2 blockers. Eustace Kid's on the board. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So I'm going to use my Leader's Effect here. Rest 1 of his 6Ks. Honestly, I probably should have rested his leader because attaching 1 Dawn puts him at 7K anyway. Attaching 1 Dawn to any of these guys puts him at 7K. But I used my 3K counter to get out of that 2K, the attack that was 2K over. I have to use a blocker here. I have no counterpower in hand. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right, guys? Where it's like this deck has a lot of bricks in hand, but it is what it is. So right here, I actually think I'm going to let this card go. Because hear me out. I don't want to lose that blocker. The blocker is letting me have the full 10 Dawn turns, like right here. So in this situation, I'm swinging 5 at face now, and I have to lock down his board. Okay, that's fine. Excuse me. He actually got a beige trigger to stop my leader attack, but I'm not worried about that. I was going to swing all out with everything, but technically I should have swung with my leader first, because then he might not have used it because I had a blocker. But then he'd used it as a 2K counter. I don't know. I don't think there's any way around that. He plays out Tinlin. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is really not good, right? Like, that's what's going through my head right now. Is like, I'm in a lot of trouble. So let's see. I've got a Hody Jones in hand, and we're going to have to get aggressive here. So I swing 6 at life. He 2K counters out. I'm like, crap. Okay. Swing 7 at life. We'll see what he gets. He drops a Momonosuke to play out Satori. He probably should have kept that Satori, and I think he's realizing that now. And then he plays out the Kikanojo, rest these, swing 8, and look at that. If he had kept the Satori, he actually would have won that game. But you can't know what's in your opponent's hand. But this deck does have the ability to kind of go all out. I might have been able to make it one more turn, potentially, by playing out the Eustace Kid, because I did have a blocker on the board. But if you look at his hand, look at that. He had that card. I think it's called Kingdom Come, but it's called Raigo on the sim. That is a 6-cost KO your opponent's character, just period. And you go down to 1 life. So if he was already at 1 life or less, it wouldn't even matter. It's just 6-cost KO anything. So really good game there. That was a tough one, and I think Katakuri is probably going to be a tough deck for Bonney to deal with. Maybe not. Let's see. Maybe Anel will be slightly better actually, because against Anel I don't get to go that aggressive. But there's less life to go through. You guys know there's no big bombs coming down. There's an argument for both of them. Okay, so the last game here is just a quick one against Monkey D. Dragon. This is the new red leader from OP-07. I don't know how I feel about this leader. I don't think it's bad or anything. I just, when you compare his effect, which can slide 2 Dawn around on the board, when you compare that effect to something Jory Bonney has that just can rest characters anytime your opponent attacks, or Rob Lucci, whenever he attacks, -1 cost to a character and trash 2 cards. Like, those are such incredibly powerful leader effects, period. Just extremely, extremely generically powerful effects. And I guess technically, yeah, so is Dragon's. His is generically powerful where you can use it kind of with any deck. But I just, compared to, like I said, Lucci and Bonney, it feels a little bit lackluster. Okay, so I do a, am I not in 2x speed? Sorry, guys. Sometimes I forget. There we go. All right, we should be good now. All right, so I'm off to a pretty good start here. I take out the 1 character out on the board. I'm going to use my leader's effect here, not to rest the bigger character. I just want to rest a character that I can for sure take off the board, right? Because I can always rest 1 character with my leader's effect if I have 1 Dawn active, or a leader. Like, there's no way to play around it. But being able to KO that little card there, that means he still only gets 1 attack next turn, and I get to rest his character even if he didn't want me to. So use my search there. Let me see something real quick. Let me go back 10. Okay. Okay. So I did a Don Quixote search there. I was gonna say in the last game, the only reason I didn't try to go further against that Katakuri, like try to go 1 more turn against them, is I really wanted another Doflamingo to lock down their board. Okay, so he gets what's his name? Karasu. I always want to call him Kazaru, but no, sorry, that's somebody else. But Karasu, that card is very annoying, but at the same time, I have to find a way to deal with it. So he attacks for 6, and I rest his character with my effect, my leader effect. Swing 6. So look how good that super. Like, I wanted to establish the Cavendish early so that I could generate way more Dawn a turn, because I just played out a 6-cost character and a 4-cost character when I only had 8 Dawn. Right? Is that what I had? Yeah, 8 Dawn. Like, I just had a 10 Dawn turn on turn 4. Which is really, really incredible. So he's going to smash in here for 7. I rest down his dragon that he just played. The I think it's an 8-cost 9K, and now I can deal with this turn. Okay, block out his 6K with my 7. or his 8K with my 7 and 2K counter. I mess up here and I hit no blocker when I forgot I was at 4,000 power. I should have used my 4-cost blocker there and did a 1K counter out. That was absolutely a play mistake. Or use a 2K counter to get out of that 6K attack. That was an absolute play mistake. It happens. Okay, so I'm going to swing 7 into Karasu here, and he is done. He taps out. This is a bad spot to be in. Look at my board, guys. I have a 7,000 power blocker, a 5,000 power blocker. I have Eustace Kid on the board that he has to get through, and I have Jewelry Bonney as a leader that's going to make sure one of those 3 attacks on his board is not going through. Just will not be allowed to. And I still technically had 2 Dawn that turn. So I could have actually activated, because remember, my 4-cost blocker is going to give me another Dawn at the end of the turn. So I could have activated the Baby 5 to do a search and then played out the other Baby 5, or excuse me, whatever that might have got. It depends. So it does depend. Long story short, I could replace that Baby 5 by using the Eustace Kid's ability and throw down a Rosinante. So there is just no way he's getting through that turn. And when I unrest, I'm just going to gobble up the board again. It's just, like I said, guys, this seems like an extremely, extremely oppressive control deck. This is very much a permission control deck. Like, you're not getting through, bud. Sorry. I'm not saying it'll be unbeatable. Again, we'll have to see how it does against, like, Red, Purple Law, Black, Yellow Luffy, and all the other strong decks out there. Mono Black Lucci. Gecko Moria might be very good against it because it has recurring KO potential with the Hog, or not with the Hogback, with the Absaloms, Lucci's, you name it. We'll have to see what happens. All right, guys, that is it. Again, I'll just put the deck on the board that I was using, or on the screen here. This is exactly what I was using from that first place list that we looked at from the most recent tournament over in the East. And if I were to make any changes, I like Hody Jones, but you probably only need 3 of these because you only want to see 1 a game. Seeing 2 a game, you're probably just immediately pitching it to something like this 0-cost event. This card, I probably would go. I would just swap their positions. I would go 3 Hody Jones and 4 Doflamingos, because this card is just insane. I think I'd also go down 1 Eustace Kid and maybe go up another 2K counter or something. Just because I will say, I mean, the deck's running fine. I'm not saying it, nothing bad about it. But I do think that would be. I think it still needs a little tiny bit of fine tuning. We'll have to see. All right, guys, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you got any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to put them down in the comment section below. And yeah, until next time, guys. Peace.